Hello and welcome to the Managing Uncertainty podcast. This is Bryan Strawser, Principal and Chief Executive here at Bryghtpath. And in episode 202, I want to talk about the recent article by Mark Andreessen entitled Artificial Intelligence Will Save the World. Mark Andreessen, you likely know, he created the first real web browser and is now a leading venture capitalist at the firm Andreessen Horowitz that he co-founded several years ago with Ben Horowitz. Andreessen's article I found highly influential on the topic of artificial intelligence, something we've talked about before on this podcast, and I think worthwhile to talk about because of the impact it's going to have on all of us and the kind of work that we do. So I want to highlight a few key points from the article, and of course we'll link it in the show notes. The first major point that Andreessen makes is that artificial intelligence is a tool that has been created by humans. It is controlled by humans, and it's not, as he puts it, a killer software and robots tool that's going to harm humanity like we see in many movies. He argues that AI represents an opportunity to augment human intelligence. It can lead us to improved outcomes in a variety of fields, and that this augmentation has already been started with AI models like ChatGPT, which we've talked about here on this podcast. And these capabilities, these improved outcomes, can accelerate if we allow it to do so, if we continue to evolve the technology in ways that allow it to do so. Andreessen envisions that in the future, every child will have an AI tutor, and every adult will have an AI assistant, coach, mentor, trainer, advisor, therapist, however you want to think of that, or perhaps all of them or some combination of those things. That these AI entities will be infinitely patient, compassionate, knowledgeable, and helpful. And that the same concept applies to professionals, scientists, artists, engineers, business people, doctors, caregivers, leaders. He has a number of examples around this. I will say in regards to this third point that I think to some extent this capability is already here. I have found using ChatGPT, particularly now that it has plugins enabled if you're paying for the access to 4.0 where you get early access to some features, the plugin capability with AI is such the plugin capability with ChatGPT, I should say, is an incredible force multiplier in terms of improving productivity in ways that I could not have fathomed a year ago. And this ties well to his fourth major point, which is that AI has the potential to greatly enhance productivity, leading to economic growth, the creation of new industries and jobs, and increased material prosperity across the globe. There's a lot to be afraid of around AI's ability to increase productivity from the standpoint in that it will probably have significant impact in certain fields on certain jobs. But if you learn to use AI in effective ways, it will not impact you, if that makes sense to you. And I'll give a prime example. This past weekend, as I continue to explore AI tools in my downtime, I have begun we've been playing with some AI tools around content here at Bryghtpath on how can we use AI to help us generate content? How can we use AI to write better content, to get better search engine optimization? These are all things we've been looking at. This weekend, I played with a tool that's not yet on the market from a content generation standpoint that absolutely melted my brain in terms of giving it a topic to write about, giving it samples of the way you want it to write, and providing it with inputs. And in this case, we gave it inputs of articles we had written before, and watch it generate wholly new forms of content in my voice on a topic I had not written on, but a topic I had written maybe tangentially about in other articles that we fed to the tool. Now, I could look at that and say, this scares the shit out of me because it can, I don't need to write anymore. It can just write instead of me. So what good am I? And, which is the response of my communications team when we were talking about this morning. But it changes the game because now the job shifts from I got to write, a 2,000 word article every 2 weeks. That's the expectation of me here at Bryghtpath. Or is it that I coach AI to write the article and then I edit it down, get it down to the way I want it? And that first 80% cut is done by AI. I think that capability is already here and it will only get better in time. And I think that's just one area where the productivity gain is going to be incredible for companies that choose to leverage this capability. Andreessen's fifth point is that AI could bring about a golden age for the creative arts because it will enable artists, musicians, writers, filmmakers to realize their visions faster and on a larger scale and in a more productive way than ever before. I've already seen AI tools that can make videos. We've seen AI tools like Midjourney and DALL-E that can make art, can make incredibly photorealistic art, as long as you feed it the kind of prompt that you want it to. I can feed Midjourney a photo of myself, and I did this, and asked it to make me look like a technology journalist writing for the Wall Street Journal at my age, and fed it the photo of me, and it came up with a different version of me that was more like probably what the Wall Street Journal would see a tech journalist pen drawing look like, pen and pencil drawing, or whatever they call it, in the journal. I asked it to make me look like a Jedi, and it put me in a Jedi outfit with a lightsaber in a photorealistic way. I asked it to make me look like a Pixar hero in a Pixar movie, and it did, in a way that was incredibly like me, but also incredibly in the style of Pixar. So this capability is here today, and I envision that only getting better. Andreessen's sixth point, and one that colleagues of mine were researching when I was in grad school at King's College London in the Department of War Studies recently, is that AI could improve warfare by assisting military commanders and political leaders in making more informed, strategic, and tactical decisions, thereby minimizing risk, errors, and unnecessary casualties. That is definitely one area where it can improve warfare, but autonomously, AI could also act autonomously in this way. And I think that's where we get into the Terminator, Skynet situation that we've all been afraid of from movies. His seventh point is that AI will not only make us more intelligent, but more human. That AI can empower people who lack technical skills to express their artistic ideas, and empathetic AI friends can help people handle adversity. That AI medical chatbots are already more empathetic than their human counterparts, making the world a warmer and more compassionate place. I think that's going to be wild as it continues to evolve. And that his last point, his biggest point, is that the development and proliferation of artificial intelligence is a moral obligation that we owe to ourselves, our children, and our future. Andreessen believes that AI is potentially the most important and beneficial invention of our civilization, on par with or even surpassing the development of the transistor, the microchip, and electricity. So pretty interesting thoughts from Mark Andreessen. I'm curious what you think. I'm curious what you're seeing with AI when it comes to our field of business continuity, crisis management, and crisis communications. If you have thoughts, please post them as a comment to the podcast or come over to our private Facebook group for resilience professionals and offer up your thinking. That's it for this edition of the Managing Uncertainty podcast. We'll be back next week with another new episode. Be well.